distance in the light, vibration of the thunder.
Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens. This is the My Sober Addiction Podcast. I think I need to start with an apology for not being as consistent as I should be. I have not been releasing podcast episodes consistently, and I do apologize. And I have noticed that I have picked up quite a few new listeners. Welcome, guys, and to you, I also offer an apology. Well, and a lot of people who have listened to my show know that I let people know that I am far more of a writer than I am a speaker. Although, yes, I am working on it. And a lot of my time recently has been spent with writing. I have a Substack, and that is where I post a lot of the little articles and blurbs and just blog posts, whatever, that I write. And if you're interested in reading that stuff, it's you can go to substack.com, or probably the best thing to do would be to download the app. It's much like Reddit. It's just a lot more, for me, it's a lot more organized for readers and writers rather than just like a social media thing. Because Reddit, I mean, not that I dislike Reddit. It's more of it's a little more social than Substack is. Now you can get in, there are comments and there are threads of conversations and things like that, just like on Substack as well. Anyway, I've got a Substack and I've been posting a lot of stuff there. And so if you are curious about it, it is Matt Stevens. The same logo that I use for the podcast, I have on the Substack as well, at least for right now. So it shouldn't be too terribly hard to find if you want to find my stuff. Also, if you are familiar with my Facebook, my Facebook is also Matt Stevens. And every time I post something to Substack, I post a link to it on there. And also on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, there's that. But mainly my big deal I've been doing lately is I have been writing in this memoir that I've been talking about my time in active addiction. It's kind of a labor of love. It's a thing that I'm writing because, well, when I was new to sobriety, when you're new to sobriety, it's a very lonely time because up until that point, pretty much everybody you've known that, all your friends and things like that are people who are also in active addiction and most likely still are. So you have to distance yourself from that. In fact, you have to cut those ties off entirely if you are indeed serious about your sobriety. So it kind of leaves you in a spot where you're all alone. I really can't contact my old friends because they're still in active addiction. And so what do? Well, I mean, you can go to meetings, of course, that's always recommended. But when I was new to sobriety, this memoir that I'm writing is something that I wish I had had. It's a kind of a companion book, I guess, to newfound sobriety. Something I wish I had, something I can read to know that somebody has gone through the same things I have, experienced the same feelings I'm feeling, and maybe even in some cases help them to help their family understand. For example, in one part of the memoir, I'll tell a story about how when I was new to sobriety, my dad said, "Well, son, it's simple. Just don't do it anymore." I'm like, well, it is that simple, but as simple as it is, it's also that complicated. It makes perfect sense. We can just don't do it anymore, right? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but it just doesn't seem to work that way, does it? So anywho, I gave a pretty good explanation on that, and that you just have to have been there. You just have to experience it to truly understand that it's not that simple. It should be, and on paper it is, but it just isn't. So anyway, most of my time lately has been spent writing that memoir and also writing some on Substack. For the past week, I have been attempting to record this episode that I am in the process of attempting to record right now, and it just hasn't gone well. It's not that I'm not organized. I'm just I'm not really sure where to go here because I have kind of gotten away from talking about addiction on the podcast. But at the same time, I'm like, well, at some point we move on, right? At some point we are we're not living in active addiction anymore. We don't need to talk about it incessantly. So when people come to this podcast and they see, oh, okay, here's a heroin addict, he's in recovery, blah, 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 and his name of the podcast is My Sober Addiction, sounds great. And then they listen to a couple episodes, they're like, well, this guy never mentioned addiction. Yeah, well, there's a lot that I do and all that, but there are some episodes where I don't even mention it. I'm not really sorry for that I don't do that, because I'm like, well, at some point we move on. At some point we have to start looking at the other things. Like a lot of us have questions about spirituality. I know I certainly do. And a lot of them were brought on by a really bad overdose that I had where I was out of my body, for lack of a better term. I'm not exactly sure. Some people can just debate that, dispute it, and whatever. It's fine. I'm not here to split hairs with you and determine whether or not I was inside or outside my body, if, whatever it was. Here's what I know. I experienced what I experienced. It made me what you would call a spiritual seeker, because everything I had been raised to believe happens when you are absent of your body didn't happen. I realized that during that time when they said I was out of it, was not breathing on my own, had no detectable heartbeat, all that good stuff. And it was for a pretty good amount of time. It was far longer than you should be able to survive. However, there was someone breathing for me during that time. I've got to put that in there, because someone cannot go without breathing for longer than about 8 minutes without sustaining at least some brain damage. And mine was more like almost 3 times that. However, someone was forcing air into my lungs for me at that time. But I had no detectable heartbeat, all that good stuff. So when I first came out of that, when I did come to, I couldn't even remember the previous 24 hours at that moment. But over the next, I don't even remember exactly for sure at this point. God, that's been, that was 9 years ago, almost. So I do know that I was aware at that moment, in those moments when I was out of it. And the best description I've ever been able to give anyone is that there was just nothing, but it was, at the same time, it was everything. I just became one with the flow. I became one with the all. I returned to where I came from, and it was fine. It was not scary. The most profound part of it was there was really no concept of time. When I think back on it during those 20 minutes or whatever, there was no concept of time. It could have been 10 seconds, 10 minutes, or 10 million years. It was all the same thing. So anyway, that put me on a kind of spiritual journey, because I'm like, well, that wasn't at all what I had been raised to believe. What happens after you're gone? And then, it could also be argued that, well, that wasn't exactly what happened to you. Okay, fine. I don't know. All I know is what I did experience. And I know that it has sent me on a little quest of, what's this all about? What are we doing here? Why are we humans here? And exactly how are we here? In what capacity? So, is this physical reality really physical? Or, as I mentioned in the last episode, are we living in God's dream? If we take a map, like a radiation map or whatever of the universe, and they've done it, if you look at it, it really looks like the neural network of a brain. What the radiation mapping of the universe, I don't know, I'm not scientific, bear with me. Anyway, it looks like the neural network of a brain. And if you really step back and look at it, the entire universe itself is like a brain. And I know that anything that is created starts as a thought. So anyway, what I'm getting at is, the question is, are we living inside the mind of the Creator? Are we living inside God's mind? Is this where we're created? Is this where we exist? Some people say this is God dreaming. I don't know about that. I mean, whatever. But I do think that we were created. We are eternal. And this existence that we have found ourselves in right now is temporary. And it could be very much argued that this is our own dream, a dream within a dream. So that last episode was titled A Dream Within a Lucid Dream Forever or whatever. I'm not sure. Anyway, point is, are we now a dream within a dream? Is this life nothing but a dream? We exist outside of it, but on outside, we are asleep. When we pass from this life is when we actually wake up. And a lot of philosophies follow along with that. A lot of philosophies say that's when you awaken. Awaken from the dream. This dream that we have found ourselves in right now. Okay, so lucid dreaming. According to Wikipedia, which I do not always go off of Wikipedia, but when it's something that can't be spun and made biased or whatever, then fine, we'll go with the definition from Wikipedia. According to Wikipedia, a lucid dream is a type of dream in which the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming whilst dreaming. The capacity to have lucid dreams is a trainable cognitive skill. During a lucid dream, the dreamer may gain some amount of volitional control over the dream characters, narrative, or environment, although the control of dream content is not the salient feature of lucid dreaming. Anyway, so a lucid dream is when you become aware of the fact that you are dreaming. And in a dream, anything can happen, right? Crazy things happen. The laws of physics are defied in just about every dream, correct? And then if you become aware of the fact that you're dreaming, well, then all of a sudden you can get creative and make things happen. Oh, yes. Here we go, Matt. We're finding a way to turn this all into reality creation. Yes, I am. So if this life is a dream, and just by having this conversation, we have become aware of the fact that this is a dream, it's like, holy crap, we're dreaming. We are now lucid in this dream and can control it. We can manipulate it. We can make things happen in it. I don't know if we can defy the laws of physics. The rules of this reality have been laid out by someone far smarter than we are. So anyway, that's a pretty cool little concept. It's very compelling because those of us who question, what is this reality anyway? What makes real? I can't get myself to believe in the cosmic accident theory. That all this there was a big bang and literally everything is all scientific. That all of this just happened by accident. I can't believe that because, well, for one, I don't believe in coincidences. Two, I also know that nothing is created until somebody has a thought. Nothing. Thought is creative in itself. So therefore, being creative requires thinking. It requires someone to have a thought. So yes, I do believe, I'm one of those people that does believe that the creator is consciousness itself and became aware and conscious of itself. Once it realized that, it started thinking. And by the virtue of just thinking, it began to create. It created you, it created me, it created everything. And then, well, why? What's it all about? I don't know. Maybe just to have experiences. Maybe it's just bored. I have said that, that being immortal beings, we come and have these experiences in these mortal existences. For what purpose? Well, so that we can gain knowledge, so that we can gain experiences. And, seriously, it's probably pretty boring sometimes. Get yourself some mortality. Give yourself a possibility of death if you make the wrong decisions and things like that or whatever. To me, it's just a little more proof that we are divine creators and that we can manipulate this dream that we have found ourselves to be lucid in. So anyway, there's that. And I'm going to think some more on this and probably touch on it more in the future because I'm really starting to get into this whole lucid dreaming. Not that I want to go to sleep at night and have lucid dreams. A lot of people do that. And yes, it's very cool. I'm not opposed to it, but that's not what I'm getting at here. Here I'm implying that we are already asleep outside of this and we are dreaming this existence, this life. And that could be it, or it could be more like the whole video game simulation theory, where we are controlling this avatar outside of this construct, much like someone would do in a video game like Call of Duty or Fortnite or any of those, where you have an avatar that's running around on a battlefield and completely under control by you. Well, what if that avatar became self-aware? That would be what we are, self-aware. And then, if we look into things a little further, oops, I just hit my mic there. Sorry if I dinged it. Anyway, and then we get to go a little bit further, we can realize, whoa, I am my higher self is on the outside, looking out for me, helping to guide me, helping me to have a better life, helping me to do the things that I came here to do. And what is that we came here to do? Well, we came here to, I'm going to say, not save the world. For one, the world doesn't need to be saved. Two, we can't save the world on the trajectory that it's going. And as long as the collective keeps it that way, well, then that's how it is. But the good thing about that is we as individuals that are a part of the collective, we all know that most people out there, most people are completely asleep at the wheel, or if existent at all. They're just going through the motions. Yeah, they'll talk with you, but you know who it is. You can tell who's who out there. You can tell. And I'm really trying hard not to say that they have no soul or whatever, because I am not one to judge. Or even worse, call them, say that these people are NPCs, non-player characters, that they're just fillers to enhance our experience. For one, that's a pretty pretentious way to look at things, I guess. Pretentious, self-centered, maybe. Anyway, that's the stuff that I'm not too concerned about, because here's what I am concerned about is us as individuals, you, me, anybody who has found themselves here are here to learn. I think we're here to learn how to create. I think we're here to learn a few things. One is to learn duality, good and bad, this, that, and also to learn how to be creative, to create things with our minds, to cause things to manifest just by a simple virtue of thought. Well, you've always got to put some action behind it. But anyway, so getting back to making for our best life, I've said that hope is a killer of dreams. Why is that? Because hope creates anxiety. Hope is a product of want. And wanting something is you admitting that it does not exist in your reality. So we should really avoid wanting anything. Now, there are things that we want in our life, sure. But we need to change our vocabulary. We need to change up the way we say these things. Because, yes, words do have power. And, yes, it can be something as simple as that. It's like Neil Donald Walsh said it best when he was talking about God. And God will agree with everything you say, pretty much. So, like, if you say, I want $1 million, God will say, yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. You do. You do want $1 million. Yep. Well, that's not creative at all. But if you say, I am financially free, then if God agrees with that, yes, you are. You certainly are. And then that is a positively creative force in your life. That's when things can start happening as far as becoming financially independent. Because we don't really want a certain amount of money in the bank. We don't really care if it's $1 million or what. It could be a stack of potatoes for that matter. It doesn't make any difference what it is. What we want are the experiences that come from that. So we need to kind of get more creative in that regard. Establish what it is that what we want. Sorry, for lack of a better term here, but I'm just trying to get to explain the point I'm getting at. But what we want are the experiences. We want to experience financial independence. We want to experience a better life, live where we want, how we want, drive a nice car, all those things. So, well, Matt, I'm not materialistic. I don't care about those things. Well, you live in a material world. You do. This is a physical existence. And I'm not saying that those things are important, but that's where we are, and that's what we've found ourselves in right now, for now. Anywho, so we establish what we want. Then we claim that as part of our reality. It's no longer something that we want. It's something that is ours. It's part of our reality. In this physical world, we also have to live by the clock. There is a time element involved here. Now, out there in infinity, there is no such thing as time. It all is just now. So something that exists in our reality exists at all times out there. We have to get outside of this linear way of thinking. So anywho, we claim whatever it is as part of our reality. You want financial independence? Claim it. I am financially free. Matter of fact, the little mantra that I had started to use here on the podcast, but I've kind of gotten away. I didn't get in the habit of using is the I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. In fact, I've also added the word now because there is only now. So it is, I am now happy, healthy, wealthy, and free. That's what we want. That's all we need for our life. Anyway, so we claim what it is that we want, financial independence or whatever the case may be, and then we expect it to manifest. But that's where I kind of veer away from law of attraction, where we can just sit around on our couch and think good thoughts and get our vibration up. And while there's a whole lot of truth to all that, you still need to put some skin in the game. You got to come to the table with the creator. The creator's like, okay, yeah, like what Neil Donald Walsh said, God's going to agree with everything you say. So you say financial independence is part of my life. Yes, it is. Do your part. Trust that the creator is going to do its part to pick up your slack. But you can't do nothing. You really can't. Get to work. That's all. Trust God or the creator to do its part. Don't hope. You have to trust God is going to do its part, while you get to work doing your part to make it happen. Do some kind of activity. Maybe you are a painter. Whatever it is, just get to work. Don't worry about the money. Get to work pursuing something and claim the things in your life that you want to claim to be yours. And you've really got to get good with the whole, your whole imagination thing, right? I mean, I'm not saying anything that most of us haven't already heard before, but we do have to imagine this life that we are manifesting. We have to imagine it. If you want to live in a tropical paradise, imagine what it would be like to wake in the morning, walk out on your patio and have a cup of coffee with the palm trees rustling around you, or the sound of the ocean not far away. Whatever the case may be, you have to really immerse yourself through your imagination, really immerse yourself in that reality. You got to get in the feeling of it, get in the vibration of it. Feel like you would feel if you were there. Get your body, your mind, your soul into the vibration of that reality now. What would it feel like? Really feel it. I mean, you need to feel the wind in your hair. What would it smell like? What would it taste like? What would it, everything like? And you've got to hold that feeling, make that feeling real. I mean, really feel it. I mean, if you're not smiling while you're sitting doing this, then you're still not doing it right, because you've got to really be, wow, this is amazing. This is exactly what I've been looking for. Hold that vibration, hold that feeling. You've got to imprint that feeling inside your mind. That way you can go to that place and you can feel that at any time by using your glorious imagination. And then you got to get to work. It's like, well, yeah, but I can't make enough money to do that by doing this. That's not your problem. Only thing you need to worry about doing is using your imagination to put that out there into existence, put that creative thought out there into the field that this is what my life is like. And then put some skin in the game, start working at it. Do something that creates a means for that to come to you. And you partner with the creator, you partner with God. That's the master creator. You're kind of a rookie, but you're doing your part. And that's what you're learning. You're learning how to be that master creator. You think your coach isn't going to see you putting forth the effort and chip in and help out and bring it along? Sure, because you're here to learn. Do your part by using your imagination and getting yourself in the vibration of that you desire for your life. Then put some skin in the game and get to work, whatever it may be, and know that the creator is going to make the rest happen. Do you trust God or not? Yes or no? It's that simple. Do you trust God? If you do, then fine. If you do not, then I don't know what to say. And another thing, we must get over our resistance or our fear of appearing to ourselves and or to others as coming off as materialistic. Meaning, if you want to drive a Corvette, but you don't want to come off as looking materialistic, get over it. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Everything I'm saying here is with the understanding that we are eternal, immortal beings that do exist and most definitely transcend materialism out there. Out there meaning outside of this reality, outside of this construct that we live in. However, in here, in this construct, this reality that we have found ourselves in very, very temporarily, we do live in a physical, material existence. And there is nothing wrong with what this reality has to offer while we're here. I mean, you don't go on vacation to the Gulf of Mexico or wherever and then deprive yourself of sun, sand, and surf, do you? No. When you're on vacation at the beach and you're there to enjoy what's there. You're there for the sun, sand, and surf, and probably hit up a seafood restaurant or two while you're there, correct? Maybe even have a Mai Tai, because it's what you're there for. So we have found ourselves here, so let's enjoy what's here. Let's just not let it rule us. And we do need to be of service to others. But I'm very much there with regards to we cannot save the world. We don't need to save the world as far as humanity, the collective, and all that stuff goes. We can't do it. Now, we can reach out and save a few individuals. Yes. And maybe lots of individuals. But as far as the masses are concerned, that's not for us. Nope. Because we have separated ourselves from that by becoming aware of the fact that we are creators in control of our destiny. It's important to not lose sight of who we truly are and why we're here. Because out there, I can see how everything is just one big blur. There is no good, there is no bad, because you already understand that it all just is. So this may be just an attempt to learn what good and bad is, right? Anyway, loved ones, I am aware of the fact that I need to get more consistent with these podcast episodes. I am thinking about I do a lot of rants, kind of like when I'm in my car and I'm driving to work or somewhere. And there are some times where I will actually think, wow, this is good. I need to get this down. So I will go into my voice notes or whatever in my phone and record myself going on a rant. And really, I mean, it's usually some pretty good stuff. And that happens that way because, you find yourself inspired in the moment. And, that's when you kind of come off with some of your best stuff, right? So I'm thinking about maybe starting to do some shorter episodes, maybe even 5-10 minute little clips. Now I will be using the microphone on my phone, so they won't sound as good. I mean, this microphone, I've got a new microphone here I've used for about, 3 episodes now, and it is pretty good. Anywho, I may start releasing some shorter things like that. We can maybe just call them little rants. Well, Matt on his way to work rants, right? So one thing that I have learned by listening to Jason Brashears is with regards to creating your life, he's got some things that I'm definitely going to get into coming up in that, he's more of along the lines of we do have what he calls an oversoul, which you would call God or creator or whatever. But that we do absolutely exist inside a simulation. And he even goes as far as say it's probably a computer simulation, and that our real selves are outside and we're kind of jacked into this reality voluntarily. And we are most likely here to figure something out or try something out in a contained, controlled environment. It may be something that we are contemplating doing on the outside that we're like, oh gosh, we can't do that. Let's go into a simulation and try it there and see what happens. He goes into what he calls pattern breaks, where you break pattern, where you do something completely off the wall and different. Throw reality a curve. Let it see that, oh, whoa, this guy's doing something different. And then it has to pay attention to you. And now all of a sudden it's spending a lot of energy on one soul that belongs to a group of, say, a million. And it's like, whoa. The amount of energy I usually spend on a million, I'm now having to put into this one. What is this guy doing? And basically you need to put yourself in a position where it will help you change up your reality. Anyway, the thinking behind it is it'll basically give it to you just to get you to shut up, just to get you pigeonholed into some kind of group. But let's say you want to be in a group, I don't want to be in this group I don't want to be grouped up with this one anymore. I want to be grouped up with that one because they're having a better life. They live by the beach. They live this, that, whatever. So it's like, okay, fine. Switch them over to that one. And now you just upgraded your life. Well, later on, you can do it again. Throw some other little pattern breaks in there. Start doing some reality creation. Again, it has to expend energy on you. Again, what is this guy doing? He's not staying in the pattern. And I'm looking into that a lot more, and I really kind of like the whole concept of it. I'm just not real good at explaining it yet, but I will, because it's very interesting. Given this guy who is explaining that and given his own life story, he needs to be listened to, because he's definitely came up from nothing. I think it's 26 years in prison for something that he did while he was at the age of 17. And for anybody who looks him up, Jason Brashears, one thing you need to know is the victim's family were actually trying to defend him. It was the guy that he was with that actually did the crime. It was kind of a guilt by association thing. Anyway, so that's what I got for now. I'm going to get this edited up. I hope to have another one. I'm not going to hope anything, right? I just said in this very podcast episode that hope is a killer of dreams. Oh my God. I said hope creates anxiety. Yeah, I said hope creates anxiety. Hope is a product of want. And wanting something is you admitting that it does not exist in your reality. So I'm not going to hope to get anything done. I'm just going to get it done. I'm going to have this episode edited and uploaded and be working on the next one and have that one going out. I intend to get back to doing weekly podcast episodes. It's just been with all the writing I've done lately, and it has been a ton of writing lately. It's really between writing and just being, we all wear a lot of hats, right? I love you all. Thank you for listening. To my new listeners, thank you so much. If you guys wouldn't mind, a review on whatever platform you listen to this on would be fantastic. I would so appreciate it. If you can share it with people, I would ridiculously appreciate it. It's almost like the podcast has been growing despite me. It's like, yeah, Matt, you haven't been doing very well with your consistency, but it's still growing anyway. And it's humbling. So it really makes me think, gosh, man, you really need to get with it, because imagine how well it will be doing if you had been doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's not that I'm doing what I'm not supposed to be doing. I need to make more episodes. One a week is fine. I know I intended to do 2 a week, and I do think that would be best. And maybe with the smaller podcast episodes that I was talking about, maybe doing little 10, 15 minute ones here and there instead of the 25 to 30, right? Anyway, getting back to it. I love you guys. Please review, please share, all that good stuff. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.